Hello, wonderful people. You're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Bola. If this is your first time here, you're highly welcome. Kindly click on the subscribe button before you go. And to my returning subscribers, thank you all so very much. I'm not taking you all for granted. Thank you for always watching and liking my videos. I so much appreciate you all. May God bless you all richly. Amen. So today we'll be making a kimono jacket. I'll be taking you through the cutting process. I have my fabrics folded on the table. I'll be cutting both the front and the back piece together. And I cut out my fabrics using the biggest circumference of my measurements with 3 inches allowance. I added 3 inches to it. The first thing I'll be doing is to measure out my shoulder line. I'll make it into a straight line. And from my shoulder line, I'll be determining my bust line. I'm using 11 inches for my bust line. I'll also be determining my waist line. I'm using 18 inches for my waist line. And I will also be using 24 inches for my hip line. I'll be working with 42 inches length. And I will add 2 inches seam allowance to it. Having done that, I will then connect the points to a straight line. Having done that, the next thing for me is to determine my shoulder measurements. I'm working with shoulder measurement of 16 inches. Divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. I'm going to measure out 8 inches on my shoulder line. And I will add ½ inch seam allowance to it. I will then take my armhole measurements. The armhole I'm working with is 9 inches. I will take my ruler to connect the points together. I will then move over to the neck area to determine my neck design. I'll be using 4 inches width and 4 inches depth for the front neck design. And for the back neck design, I'll be using 4 inches width and 1.5 inches depth. I'll be connecting together. So I have formed my front neck design and my back neck design. I'll then move over to the armhole line to slant for my shoulder slope. I'll be slanting 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Having done that, I'll move over to the armhole line to determine the midpoint. I'll go in by 0.5 inch for my front armhole. I'm connecting for my front armhole. I will then connect for my back armhole. This is usually so because the front arm is usually deeper than the back armhole to avoid excess fabric around the front area. I'm raising it up now to show us what we have achieved so far. The next thing now is to insert our circumference measurements. I'll move over to the bust line to insert my bust measurements. The bust measurement I'm working with is bust 48 inches. I'm going to divide by 4 and it will give me 12 inches. Then I'll be adding 2.5 inches allowance to it. I'll also take my waist circumference measurements. I'll also add 2.5 inches allowance. And on the hip line as well, I'll be taking my hip measurements. I'll also be adding 2.5 inches allowance. Whatever I have on the hip line, I will just make a straight line all the way down to the end of the fabric. That is, I'll be using the same measurements on the waist to the end of the fabric. The next thing for me to do now is to connect the lines together. I'll be connecting my bust measurements to my waist measurements. I'll also connect it to the hip measurements. I will then be cutting out. I'll be cutting for the back panel first before I cut for the front panel. So you note that you'll be cutting the back neck design first, then the back armhole. Having cut out, I'll then set the back panel aside. I will remove the back piece. I will set it aside to cut the front piece. I'll be doing three things on the front piece. I'll be cutting out the neck design. I'll be trimming off the excess fabric on the shoulder line, and I'll be slitting it opening. I'll be cutting into two. I'm cutting the excess fabric around the armhole area now. And I'm going to slit the fabric into two. I'm opening up the back piece and I'll be placing the front piece on it just to show us how it's going to look like when we couple together. So I'll be taking the fabric to my sewing machine and I'll be joining side by side. The next thing for me to do now is to cut the basic sleeve. I'll be attaching sleeve to the jacket, so I'll be cutting out the sleeve. The cap height I'm using is 4.5 inches. So I'll make it into a straight line. I actually have a tutorial on how to cut the basic sleeve on my channel. Feel free to click on the video and watch. On the cap height line, I'll be determining my armhole measurements. The armhole measurement I used was 9 inches. So I'll be taking 9 inches and I'll be adding 2 inches allowance to it. I'll then take my ruler to connect to the top. From the 9 inches, I'll connect to the tip of the fabric. I'll make it into a straight line. When drafting for the back armhole, I'm going to determine the midpoint of the line. At the midpoint, I'll be going up by ½ inch. I'll take my ruler to connect back to the 9 inches. I can either use my free hand or my cuff. And for the front armhole, I'll be cuffing like so and then connect to the upper part of the fabric. The next thing I'll be doing is to insert my round sleeve measurements. I'll be adding 2 inches allowance and I'll be connecting together. Okay, so we have drafted our basic sleeve pattern. So the next thing for me to do is to cut out. I'll be cutting for the back first, then I will then open it up to cut the front sleeve. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please kindly subscribe, like, and share my videos. Thank you very much. And to all my subscribers, I say thank you once again. So our sleeve pattern is ready. I'll be taking the fabric now to my sewing machine to couple the piece together, and I'll be bringing it back to you to show you the final outcome of our jackets. Thank you very much for watching.